All right, so let's begin with the Leadership Friday. Appeal Court NNPP wants justices probed over verdict, challenges judgment on Kano governorship at Supreme Court, anxiety as APC NNPP fixed protest for Saturday. And other riders there for that story. Economic Council molds emergency budget for flood disasters. The Nigerian pilot National Assembly member set to marry off 100 female orphans in Kebbi. That's on page 8. And then the bold headline there, terrorism financing, screaming there, says Interior Minister orders probe of misconduct of correctional service officials, says their actions condemnable, unpatriotic, disturbing. You may want to pick up the paper and read up details of that. The Daily Times, Nigeria's entertainment industry to rake in $14.82 billion by 2025. Some good news there from that sector. And then how PDP helped APC win Plateau governorship. That's coming from a BOT member, Tap Gon. That's talking about sack of Mutwang there. And then the Nigerian Express, Nasarawa governor gets respite as appeal court overrules tribunal. Firm's election victory. PDP's move to unseat Gombe governor fails again. The paper says Yaya Bello freezes Kogi government accounts. Why? You may want to pick out on the Nigerian Express. And then the People's Daily is leading with troops kill 99 terrorists, arrest 198. That's coming from the defense headquarters on page 5 of the People's Daily. Nasarawa Guba appeal court reverses sack of Governor Abdullahi Sule. All right, NBS Nigerians spend 61.08 trillion naira on food, others in 6 months. That's coming from the Bureau of Statistics. Household consumptions account for largest share of real GDP at market prices, representing the figures you see there in the first quarter, second quarter of 2023. That's the bold one on the front page of this Nigerian newspaper. It also says Defense Headquarters recovers over 500,000 liters of stolen crude oil in 1 week. On page 20. All right, the Daily Asset, the leading story there, jubilation in Nasarawa, Gombe as governors win at appeal court. Senate 6 Nigeria's inclusion in $147 billion global bitumen market passes Bitumen Development Commission bill for second reading. Okay, let's see how Nigerian news directors leading their stories this morning. It says, goodbye elections, appeal court judgment, spike controversies, as court reinstates Sule as governor of Nasarawa State, Cross River, Benue PDP challenge court's verdict, head to Supreme Court. And then power epilepsy, the paper says on its bottom page, Delta governor hints on maybe renovation there. Okay, we couldn't get all of that. Let's look at the Standard Times now. Appeal court opposed Gombe governor election, reverses sack of Nasarawa governor. That's how the Standard Times is leading this morning. Imo election, LP storms INEC headquarters, demands CTC. Okay, the New Telegraph now, CTA carpet security agencies, political parties on vote buying, urges INEC to probe infraction. That's talking about the off-cycle polls. As appeal court reverses Nasarawa governor's sacking, says tribunal's judgment and nullity. This day, Shetima to governors at NEC, we must develop our agric sector for self-sufficiency. And then Olanikpeku, appeal court can't correct clerical errors in Kano Guba judgment, tension as NNPP APC hold rally tomorrow. The Guardian, as always, with a graphical representation of his leading story, high OPEX, harsh environment, hobble, industrial revival, jobs. That's the big story there on pages 4 and 5. And then you have the graphical representation, 18.75% interest rate, exchange rate, 1.165 per dollar. That's 1,165 naira per dollar there. Then you have Lagos impounds 15 petroleum tankers for parking on Port Access Road. That's on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then the leading story states FCT owe federal government 1.7 trillion naira in budget support facility on page 2. The Daily Trust, war on Gaza. That's how this paper is leading. Israeli-Hamas ceasefire begins today. 50 Israeli hostages, 150 Palestinians for release. Israeli forces launch fresh attack ahead truce. And then you have, of course, that picture story illustrating children looking for aid there. And then Sule wins appeal, joins Otu Mba Alia Sanwo-Olu for Supreme Court battle. Jubilant supporters hail victory. Governor tasked APC members on sincerity. The battle continues, saying Nasarawa Cross River PDP. That's how the blueprint is leading this morning. And then the bottom page story there, so you can see all of the stories on the paper. And then we're getting our reviewers for review. Gentlemen, appeal court ruling, seem to be causing an uproar everywhere. Some jubilating, some protesting. Really, and that's how some of the papers put it this way. We have Leadership Friday up here, and it says NNPP wants justice probed over verdict. And we also saw another story which says that the appeal court cannot reverse. That's coming from yes, one of the senior advocates that we have in the country, saying that clerical error can be reversed. Let's see how you weigh in on this. Who goes first?
Yeah, we can see how the judiciary is causing serious problem in the country. You see the cover of leadership. NNPP is calling for probe of the justices over the Nasarawa issue. And you also see this day where a senior advocate of Nigeria is saying that appeal court cannot reverse its CTC. We also see another angle to it. I wonder how Kano will be today, on Saturday, because the irresponsible decision, irresponsible judgment, or CTC released by the appeal court may cause serious mayhem in Kano. Because both NNPP and APC are claiming victory as at this moment. And in order to prove their victory, even when there should be no campaign, there is no political campaign going on or whatever, you can see that both parties have fixed protest.
For the same day.
For the same day. And you know that, we know how volatile Kano as a state used to be, especially in issues like protest like this. And an irresponsible act of 3 men may cause death, God forbid, may cause destruction, may cause people not going to work, not going to do their normal business. Who is causing this? Just 3 men. Just 3 people, whether they have a woman there, I think. Just 3 people who call themselves justices that are expected to be respected. And you now ask yourself, these justices, Nigerian judiciary, are they untouchable? The major problem we have in Nigerian democracy is the academia and the judiciary. You will see somebody who calls himself a professor, a vice chancellor of a university, a respected, erudite scholar, will go to, say he is a returning officer, and he will go and do the wrong thing. And when they now do that wrong thing, the battle will now move from the collation center where they have announced, collected, where they have compromised and announced a very wrong result. You will now see the battle shift to the court. Now it will come to the court where it will be the turn of those we call learned men, those we call our lords, they will now cause more panic, more tension, as it is being caused by 3 people in Kano. And I'm now asking, what is the role of NJC? These people that caused this mayhem, caused this crisis in Kano, are they above the law? If you err, you should face the law. I think that the best treatment to these people, whether it is on the side of APC or on the side of NMPP, is to kick them out of the judiciary. They are a disgrace, not only to the judiciary, but to the country. Because if, God forbid, a serious act happens tomorrow, as these 2 parties, of course, we know that they have massive supporters, massive support in Kano. If they clash, and maybe, God forbid, somebody dies in the process, who will the blood be on his or her head? The 3 irresponsible, I'm still using the word irresponsible judges who have written this.
Isn't that word a bit too harsh?
I'm sorry to use that.
You know why I'm saying that? Because they have not filed an explanation as to what led to. They called it clerical error.
How can you say
I'm not a lawyer.
An error?
I'm not a lawyer, Nze.
You are not a lawyer. So, but what I'm saying here, my sister, is this. An error in 2 full paragraphs. An error in the first paragraph, an error in the same paragraph. We are not babies, at least that we are not lawyers does not mean that we didn't go to school or we are not enlightened or we don't know how to classify things. Also, why you can see somebody saying, this is more than an error. You can't correct it. You just do something and you call it clerical error. Look at what the so-called clerical error is causing in the state.
Because it just beats my imagination, chokes, that, somebody would write one thing, on a document that would live forever and then say something else when trying to deliver.
Was not just
when trying to deliver
an
the
error
judgment.
Of name,
that's why I'm asking.
An error of this, just 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, and you say, we know the difference.
And even the NMPP is claiming that in that CTC copy that there was even an award of some money in their favor as well. 1 million naira. So was it also part of the clerical error?
You see, when I come here, I met some people a few days ago, and they were all mocking me at a public event. They said that don't we get tired of going to review newspapers? I say we won't get tired, because let it be on record. Any day Nigeria burns, let it be on record that we raise the alarm. We rung the alarm bells. I'm going to tell us something. In 2000, I was with this day newspaper, and there was a certain Isioma Daniel who wrote something about the Miss World pageant. And that thing changed her life forever. As we speak, she's in hiding, because she wrote something which Muslims and most of us felt was very offensive. The same judges will tell us that ignorance is not an excuse of the law. The same judges who are telling us that now. So you mean that 220 million Nigerians pay taxes to one irresponsible man who calls himself registrar of the court, and 3 irresponsible persons who call themselves judges, and they write a judgment? In fact, somebody was telling me last night that it's like sentencing a man to death after the man had been killed. Then you say, oh, sorry, it was a clerical, it was not Mr. A who was supposed to be killed, it was Mr. B. It shows how irresponsible these our judges are, and we keep calling them out. When President Muhammadu Buhari, in the dead of the night, raided the homes of these judges, we came here to condemn the act. But I hereby tender unreserved apology to former President Muhammadu Buhari, because Buhari saw then what we're just saying now. These men are very, very corrupt. Because you can't tell me that a man sat on a document, on a case for how many days? 2 days, 3 days? And like you rightly said, came out to read something. I mean, from where then did they read that judgment? Because this is the issue. The question is, from where did they read that judgment? When my sister was a lecturer in Unizik in Oka, they paid 6 million naira into her account. When it became a matter, they said the VC at the time said it was a typo error. So you write 6 million naira in figures, and you write 6 million naira in words, and it's a typo error. You award, so that means is that these people are drunk when they wrote that? Because you see, And as we speak, tomorrow Kano may be on fire. And if Kano go on fire tomorrow, set on fire tomorrow by the irresponsible act of these churches, we know their names, we know their houses, we know their relations.